Hey you guys, welcome to Michael Claire Arts, back to the channel. So today we're going to do a little bit of time-lapse. 'Tis the season for Christmas illustration. I'm sure if you are a observer of social media, which I'm sure you are, Instagram and some of the other things, and as well as here on YouTube, you see that a lot of illustrators and artists are doing Christmas illustrations. Last year I did some Yetis, 12 Days of Yeti for my social media account on Instagram. And I didn't really get around to finishing any of them. I just did the sketches. So today, as well as some other videos in the past few weeks, I've been endeavoring to finish some of those Yeti illustrations. Today, we're going to finish Freddy the Yeti, and he's going to be decorating a tree. I'm not going to do any real-time drawing on this. It's all time-lapse, and I'll do a little bit of talking over it. We're going to be working in Photoshop today. So hopefully you'll stick around and enjoy some of the calming sounds of the festive season. And, maybe you'll learn a thing or two. So enjoy. All right, so this is my process. So basically, I've started out with a sketch. Now I've dragged it into, I've got a couple programs that I utilize. If you follow me here on the channel, you know that first of all, I love Photoshop. It is a Swiss Army knife of illustration and artwork that really covers a very wide gamut of capability whenever it comes to digital illustration and art, graphic design. I mean, you name it, it's just a wonderful program. And you see that I'm not working in Photoshop. I'm actually in Clip Studio Paint, former Manga Studio Pro. So Clip Studio Paint's great because it's got this block-in feature that I'm sure is also in Photoshop, but I just like it here in Clip Studio Paint because I've gotten used to it. We are creatures of habits, and a lot of times, even though, I stress for you to get outside your box, I too still fall prey to the old habits, die hard mantra. And Clip Studio Paint is a die hard mantra program. I just love using this program. It's got a great rendering engine. You can save as Photoshop files, and it's just a fantastic piece of software. So what I'm doing right now is I'm doing kind of like paint by numbers. Paint by numbers, we all have heard of that old way of drawing. You just look at the number and you fill in the paint, and that's similar to what's going on. Procreate is a lot of paint by numbers, and you can go in and just fill in the line work, and that's similar to what I'm doing right here. Procreate is a great program, Photoshop's a great program, Clip Studio Paint's a great program, and they're all just tools. I stress that a lot on my channel. It's tools, and that's what I'm doing, is I'm utilizing the tool the way that I see fit. I've customized my brushes, I've customized my tool palettes and locations, and really just formed the program to work for me. It's taken years and years of trial and error to really find what works. And since I am a professional and I do, make a living at doing this, I do have to really maximize the time quotient. Whenever I'm spending a lot of time on something, it basically is money. And even though this is a fun illustration, I still want to make sure and focus on the right things. So basically, taking your time, of course, is important. I've been rushed, I've been under a deadline, but this particular piece, I just sketched it out. I did 12 Days of Yeti last year, and I've just really gotten around to inking them and coloring them the way that I want. And posting them on social media and just having some fun, in the season. I started out basically blocking in the color and doing some texture shading, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'll do this in between, and that's also important to note. I'll do this in between, my illustration work, my professional work, my 3D work, all of that stuff, and I'll come back just to kind of get my mind off of what I'm working on. You know, I'll take a walk, maybe I'll go exercise. You know, of course I'll have a lunch, and you know, if I need to, maybe I'll take a little nap or a snooze. And these little illustration times that, you know, I inject my creativity to, this is what really keeps me sane. You know, some people drink alcohol, some people play video games, some people, you know, just walk away and read a book. Me, to really relax, you know, I call it stress drawing. Just getting away and doing something that really makes me happy. And that's basically where this whole channel came from. I started out, you know, doing just fun warm-up illustration, warm-up drawings, and kind of moved into teaching, and, you know, teaching about illustration and what it's like to be a professional illustrator, and, you know, try to inspire and whatnot. And, you know, pretty much the only thing I'll post, typically the only thing I'll post on social media will be these drawings. You know, maybe I'll do one a day or one every other day, or I'll work on one for maybe 3 days. And that really is kind of where I get my creative spark from, right? They always talk about you need that side hustle, right? That side hustle that kind of keeps you going. And sometimes you make money from the side hustle, and other times you don't. I had a company that approached me recently and wanted to use this particular character in their marketing and possibly make this the face of their company, but they weren't willing to really step up and pay, you know, pay what the character is worth over the long haul. And I just wasn't comfortable in letting, you know, the intellectual property rights go for this particular character. You know, there's a ton of other characters that I've developed over my career, and it's so funny because this one was just a doodle. And sometimes, you know, going through your sketchbook, your doodles and those ideas that you put down on paper are really something that you need to latch onto, because you never know. Eventually they might become something significant. So now I'm over here in Photoshop, just plugging away using my brushes. You see, on the right hand side, I have that layer hierarchy that I've really utilized and try to stick to. I don't like messy you know, layers and where I can't find stuff. And constantly, you know, pushing that envelope of what, you know, I like and what I don't like. You can see I was trying to possibly use that circular mat that kind of made me look like a Christmas card or something. But then eventually I just kind of left it free form because, you know, I wanted to see that background a little bit more. And maybe put some atmospherics in there, and you can see I'm blocking out those dark lines using layer masking and layer transparency and clipping masks and stuff like that. Those are all things that I talk about on my channel. You know, I have over 600 videos here, and you can definitely find something that can inspire you, hopefully, and you know, teach you in the meantime. You know, I'm working in a Macintosh environment, but I think early on, you know, I started out on the PC working on this particular piece on the Surface, and then I transitioned over to Mac. Just because, like I said, in the meantime, whenever I'm in between jobs, I like to kind of pull this up and I'll doodle on it for a while, and then I'll close it. And I just decided to turn the camera on this time and do a time lapse. So I'm going to stop yapping, and hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of the video, and we'll do a wrap up near the end.
that wraps up today's illustration with narration. I didn't want this video to be too long because I've got some other videos coming up. There are a little bit more in depth, and I didn't want to saturate you guys with too much. So today's illustration was just an exercise, an exploration. This particular character, Freddy the Yeti, he's born out of just that Christmas expression that I think we all hopefully have inside of us of goodwill towards each other and, just something happy, This holiday season is just, we're coming to the end of the year, and I can reflect on a lot of things over the past year and over the past few years that I can really be thankful for. And one of them is, having this channel and having the opportunity to, teach something that I have inside of me to give to something to you guys. So hopefully you got something today and you learned something. I didn't go too deep in the illustration and program aspect of, the teaching process, and hopefully I didn't overwhelm you guys with all the talking. I know that can be irritating. If you don't like the talking, please just disregard. Put some headphones on and just watch the time lapse. So anyway, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you guys can like and subscribe and share. And as always, go and chase and find and draw those horizons. And have an awesome day. Talk to you soon.